So walking around, we have the dogs Otis, Cinema Verite. The date is the 29th of November. I'm just about to catch a plane to Washington. Tomorrow morning I'm seeing Henry Zapruder, who's the son of Abraham Zapruder, who shot the famous film on Kennedy's assassination. Then I'll be going to the National Archives and I'll be seeing Bill Murphy, who has released for the first time the NASA footage. It's Sunday, and this is Crisis Report on the making of a motion picture, #1. The film is going very well. We've now found all the footage that I thought we'd find. Found some amazing home movie by someone called Nix of JFK's assassination on the 22nd of November 1963. And beep beep, those frames were cut out by a force that, God, what was that force?
The meeting is resumed. The Assembly will now hear an address by the President of the United States of America, His Excellency, Mr. Ronald Reagan.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Dos renovados esforços em prol da integração da América Latina, que o Brasil e os demais países da região vem desenvolvendo em diversos fóruns, como a ALAD, o CELA.
This was very, very clear.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about it. I mean, I've got to be in the right frame of mind. Or can you put something? Over my face and change my voice digitally?
Yeah, of course we can. Of course we
So
can.
well, I'd be virtually, totally unrecognisable.
If that's what you wanted to do.
Well, no, I don't want to do that. This corridor is very reminiscent of the spaceship because the spaceship it was actually, to be honest, the spaceship was very much like a 5-star hotel. It had that sort of room service thing about it. Do you know what I mean? And this portal just here was, I know it might seem weird, but that's it.
That's what?
I simply don't know. I can't imagine. I mean, you must realize that when I left the broadcast last night, I went into dress rehearsal for a play that's opening in 2 days, and I've had almost no sleep, and I know less about this than you do. I haven't read the papers. I would have been surprised and hurt, as anybody would, if they'd been told that a presentation was less effective than life. Of course, we are deeply shocked and deeply regretful about the results of last night's broadcast. It came rather as a great surprise to us that a story, the fine H.G. Wells classic fantasy, the original for so many succeeding comic strips and adventure stories and novels about a mythical invasion by monsters from the planet Mars, should have had so profound an effect upon radio listeners.
So we're in Palm Springs. It's Thursday night. Actually, it's now. Yeah, it's Thursday night. It's the 12th of August. Tomorrow, Friday the 13th. We have more people coming up here. And there we go. I came up here originally with the family to try and, well, we're going to do a movie about UFOs.
Daddy, I saw something really weird in those mountains over there. It looked like my toy.
Wait a minute, George, come here. You're fooling me. George, come back. Georgie. George. George, what's up?
It looked like this.
Oh, come on, like that?
Yeah.
You're just telling me that because I asked you before about whether you believe in UFOs and stuff.
No, I saw this.
Oh, you didn't see that?
Yeah?
It must have been an airplane or something.
No, it looked like this. I saw it far away.
What did it do?
What?
It was a flag saucer.
How do you know, Dominic?
Because I saw it. I saw it.
You did not.
I saw it right now. I saw it. Yes. Wow. Breaking news days. Quick checkers.
Are you putting me on?
No. And then I said, quickly, Dominic, look, and he saw.
When was that? Was it maybe part of the meteor shower?
No, we've been talking so much about it, he thinks it's all about the mountain.
No, I saw it.
Was it daytime or nighttime when he saw
No,
it?
just now.
I tell you in a million years. He's not acting.
See right there? Right there.
We're in Joshua Tree in search of UFOs.
What's that? It's hollow.
Prop.
Can we get going and explore? It's hollow. Look at that rock. That rock.
We're on another planet here, huh?
It reminds me a lot of Vasquez.
Hey guys, boys, you got to be real careful. And you too, Mr.
Fossilized quadruped. Fossilized quadruped. Face of Cydonia. Face of Cydonia. On Mars. You know, I had a really weird thing happen to me just then.
What?
All of a sudden, I got an icy cold wind while I was just standing over here. It's like a cold spot. Did you hear that? Hey, Tommy. Why don't you stay close to us, baby?
Seriously, if you tilt your head, it looks good.
Here's the two nose holes.
Easter Island.
There's the mouth. There's the eye.
Easter Island.
What is it?
Yeah, look.
What? Oh, another head.
Daddy, that's something weird.
Alright, we just got to stay here for a few minutes, get the sunset and all that. Shit, what was that?
Did you see a roadrunner?
What?
What did you see?
I thought I saw something, over the horizon there, and then there was sort of a flash. I don't know. Just back here. Look over there. Just over there, I saw something go back over the hill there. Maybe I'm starting to imagine things like you. This is pretty amazing where it's been burnt like this. Jeez.
How did it start? Are you video camera? You're smoking. You better not. Ew. Why is the moon here?
It is the moon. George?
What?
Just before, I turned around and you guys weren't there. And I saw I thought it was the moon. Did you see anything in the sky up there?
A what?
I thought, doesn't matter, forget about it.
What? The battery's like completely dead. I didn't leave the lights on. I got no juice.
Well,
you have cables?
I've got cables.
All right.
It's not that big a deal. It's not panic. I got cables.
Good. Okay, fine. Where are they?
Right here. I wonder if it's just shorted out or something.
Because I left. Well, the doors have been open, but for about 15 minutes.
I'll put my headlights on you, and then you can see what's wrong.
All right. I don't want to have to call a tow truck in the middle of the desert. This sucks.
no, Jesus, we're in the middle of nowhere. Hopefully you can jump
Who's
start it.
fucking around now? Who's doing this? This isn't funny anymore, okay, guys? It's getting dark out here.
What's up, mate?
Well, this is all dead too.
Oh, bullshit.
Come on, come on. This is what is a spark plug joke? I mean, I've done this already. I've gone through this in my life. I'm not doing this again.
Jesus.
I can't start either.
Come on, David.
No, come on. Who's doing this?
Well,
This
I
is
know
really
the camera's
stupid.
working, that's for sure.
I mean, come on. This is enough already. Okay, ha ha ha. Let's go.
I'm scared.
Oh, come on, George.
Come
Give us
on,
a break.
Who's playing games? Okay, there's no spark plug in there. You're a dead man.
You don't have to be
a
scared.
dead man.
What do you think this is going to
You know, this is really. I mean, come on. I mean, we're adults here. This is getting silly.
Do you have a flashlight or something I can use to check and see?
You know, this is.
Careful the
You
road,
guys have a
dummy.
flashlight?
Could the car start?
No, we got a problem, Dom.
I think I've got a flashlight.
Stay in the car, Donnie.
Donnie, stay out of the road, God.
Well, what? I mean, come on. What is the chances of two cars? This is silly.
You said something landed right over there?
Yeah, something before the car stopped, something landed over there, and there was like some flashing lights over us when you guys weren't looking.
What? Maddie, are you kidding me? We've been
No.
kidding all day, okay?
No, I haven't, okay?
Yeah. Maddie thinks she saw something over there but
Oh, come on. Look, enough is enough.
Have you tried your cell phone?
I see bats.
The cell phones don't get any signal out here, okay? They don't. They haven't all day. I don't know why all of a
we've
sudden
come
everyone
too
thinks the
far
cell
in.
phones are going to work. How far back was that
Maddie, are you
campground?
kidding me?
No.
At least. What?
Why would I be
Sorry,
kidding
I
you?
shouldn't
5
use
miles?
this language.
Stop
5
it.
miles?
You've done a lot of weird
Gonna walk
stuff.
5 miles
I
in this
know.
mess? I'm not walking
So
5 miles in this
strange.
mess.
Well,
Somebody
lost
give me a
light.
spark plug that I took out of my car.
You've got a spark,
I don't even have electrical in the damn interior lights.
and I can't find the flashlight.
And my clicker doesn't work either.
Maddie, were you playing with my phone?
No. Why would I play with your phone?
I don't know, but now I can't even get it on.
All right, look.
I see bats.
Why me?
I'm feeling bugs.
Got a light.
All right.
What was that about? Let's get the hell out of here. Out! Get out of here now. Come on, let's go. I'm not fucking around anymore. Let's go. Now.
Okay, David, cool it, will you?
No,
Jesus
that's
Christ,
enough already.
man.
2 hours waiting for the
No,
car to
for
go on by
Christ's sake,
itself.
just calm down, man.
I'm not doing this anymore. Get in the
Just
car.
calm
Turn the fucking
down.
camera off and get in the car. Get in the car.
You in the car over there, Maddie? Jesus Christ.
The only really weird thing that happened that freaked everyone out was that the cars wouldn't start after the sun went down. Well, there's a bit of light. I did film it. And the cars just wouldn't start. Madeleine says...
Your car?
Both of them.
Was it hot?
It was hot, not that hot, but everyone was hyped up about UFOs and stuff. So Madeleine says she saw something go over a hill. But you know, the kids, it's their imagination.
And you know, you're right out there by 29 Palms, the Air Force Base, and all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. They test a lot of experimental things out there.
Do they really? So that's so she could have seen something.
Oh, yeah, she probably did see something.
I'm with JD, and we're going into the storage facility where I've got my old files and some UFO stuff and everything. So we're going to check it out. That was 101 horror film work. POV of the monster chasing the poor bugger who's going to get strangled. This is what Chris Walken called a little blue fucker in that movie I made. called communion. You know, actually, it's interesting because this is one of the things that really, actually in retrospect, makes me very skeptical about that particular encounter, in as much as these guys just don't look, if there are aliens around, I don't think they're going to look like these guys out of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, with pursed lips. But anyway, I think the mood of communion was right, but this was too literal, and because it was based on what was supposedly a true story, I had to stick pretty close to what the author said had happened to him, and he said this is what some of these guys look like. I don't know, I mean. We're up on Mulholland. People have been seeing UFOs up here.
And in Topanga Canyon, right?
Yeah.
LAX over there, and Burbank over there, and Vandenberg Air Force Base, where you could launch the rockets that would come up, because you can occasionally see the contrails.
Maybe that's what people were seeing.
Well, that'd be my guess.
Ever seen any UFOs, Jules?
Yeah. Me and my mom, we went on the roof, and we saw just like a yellow dot in the air, and we looked at a magnifying a telescope. Yeah, and when it was just like a ball of light, and also.
What do you think it was?
It was a UFO because they had it in the paper. Yeah, everyone saw it.
What do you think of that, George?
I don't know. Weird.
Do you think that aliens exist, boys, or do you think it's just a fantasy?
Maybe they exist.
I believe it's a fantasy.
Why, Jules?
Because no one in the world ever saw one. Probably a person just made up an alien like they're people from space. Because people go to Mars and stuff like that, and they don't see any aliens.
Maybe because they live on a different planet.
Yeah,
you just said that.
Yeah, do
you saw
aliens
a UFO.
live in Uranus?
You just said that you saw a UFO.
I saw a UFO, but UFOs, there's no aliens inside UFOs. They just are like automatic something. Okay, fine, it was an alien, it probably.
Sometimes I just look up at the sky and I just wait for a UFO. There'd be police and fire trucks out there for UFO landing.
There are.
There are?
Yeah.
Let's find out. Open the door for me, George. There really are?
Mommy, are you there? Are you hiding from me? Are you playing hide and seek? Mommy, are you there? Mommy? Yes, it looks scary. Mommy? Are you behind there? Are you hiding from me? Mommy? Are you there?
They did say, they had 3 words they said. They just said, rock this house. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I've racked my brain trying to make sense of that. But that's what we took. That's what we took with us. Nothing, not a sandwich, nothing to eat. Those were the words. Rock this house.
So you're absolutely right when you say in a court of law, any 5 witnesses can send a person to the chair, but in this case, 5,000 witnesses can't send the government to the Xerox machine to photocopy all the documents on UFOs, because the answer is national security.
There is definitely a jackalope aspect to UFOs. One of the things that I decided to do is film people I knew and ask them if they've ever had any alien experiences. Isn't it a bit of a coincidence that people are all relating basically the same story? I mean, wouldn't it be more convincing if someone had a very different story? I mean, is everyone contaminated by the culture now?
Well, I think there's a lot of cultural contamination going on. I think it's absolutely correct. There are people who talk about alien abductions almost to say, oh, this was a typical abduction scenario. Well, you're talking about alien abductions. What's a typical abduction scenario?
They weren't trying to hurt us or change us, but they were trying to control us. Definitely, they wanted to control us.
They were good aliens. They were scientific aliens. I was a little bit frightened, but quite dulled by their, sophisticated sort of medication, and only sort of can remember sort of bits of it, as if I was in a drunken stupor and sort of have flashbacks to what happened. And I was taken, to the mothership, to a big spaceship. It didn't take long to get there at all, like seconds, milliseconds. Kind of like being on a luge ride or something, sort of, I sort of, got jolted in there. And I'd always feared that, an alien might want me sexually and might want me to bear the children, spawn alien babies. But that wasn't the case at all. They were more interested in my intellect. And they put sort of a cap on my head, which I thought was unusual. I thought they'd be more sophisticated than that, frankly, but it was like some kind of medieval kind of instrument. And they just measured my brainwaves.
So this is the colander thing that you mentioned. This thing is like what they put on you to measure your brainwaves?
Yeah, I was really surprised. Like, it was really unsophisticated. You'd have thought that they'd do something that, was a bit more high-tech, but, obviously the movies are right in some weird way. It's like, it does look like this. It is sort of like a kitchen colander, and, they measure your brainwaves with it, and they sort of use, like, probing instruments like this, and sort of, in the ear.
Every time I went to sleep, I would think of these people, and then all of a sudden things strange started happening. I'd pick up the phone, and my mind would go, like, in fast forward, and it was like, zzz, like this. Zzz.
I am not afraid of anything, no matter how they come at it or what they do.
I was out on the beach in Malibu one night, probably 10 or 11 at night, and I turned around and I saw these 2 lights traveling up very fast, and there were 2 lights, 2 sort of balls of light, and they were dancing with each other. They were sort of dancing in this fashion up into the sky.
All of a sudden, this tingly feeling just enveloped my whole body, and it was, dare I say it, orgasmic.
I asked him if they had special powers. What were the special powers that they had? And he looked at me and did something where I felt my entire mind open up. And in my mind, I understood and spoke French completely. But when I opened my mouth, I still couldn't speak it.
I can't stop thinking about them. They've taken over my mind.
You were there, John? When Angus saw the lights?
Yeah, I was there. But I can't remember. I vaguely remember it. I remember being out there for a lot of that stuff, but I don't remember the exact lights traveling up.
You see, that's not.
I didn't notice, and I didn't notice
No,
the
but
change.
You might have not.
Unless you're different, like, unless you have been different since then. And I sometimes think that something has happened to him.
What, since then? What do you mean his behavior's different?
Sometimes I...
Yeah, it was funny because we all sort of watched it happen, and it was a very, particular moment. We all looked at this go away and went, "Wow, what was that?" And we sort of all, that was obviously an unidentified flying object. And we looked at it, and then your mind can't really encompass it, so you sort of move on and you get back to whatever you're doing in your life.
I once went to the gynecologist in Spain. I saw 5 transparent shadows flying around me. And I knew the doctor could not see it. So I decided not to say anything and wait. And as soon as the doctor left, they had sex with me. I don't want to say that I got raped, because actually that has been the most incredible sex experience of my life. I got the most incredible orgasm ever imagined, and I felt an incredible heat inside my stomach, like if a flame was coming inside and I couldn't even move. It burned so much, and I was afraid and I ran away. I knew those creatures got me pregnant. I knew that. So I did everything I could. I wanted to kill that baby, and I started drinking and smoking and doing anything that could hurt the baby. But the amazing thing is that those creatures would not ever leave me. They would follow me all the time, and they would heal me and cure me and balance my body. If anything was going wrong, they would fix it. So I could never get sick, and I could never get drunk or stoned or anything. They would take care of my body and their baby.
All of them have this quasi-sexual experience, this invasiveness.
Was it a dream?
I don't know. You're the expert. You tell me.
Let's say that aliens exist, just for argument's sake. Are there real alien experiences, and are they kind of alien-esque experiences in which people are copycatting, but they're not copycatting? Well, I'm sure some are for notoriety, some are to write their books, but maybe others are copycatting because this really is a kind of delusional epidemic.
Sandy, I'm in LA. Our mutual friend who I think called you this morning gave me this number. I hope you don't mind me calling you this early.
Listen, mate, that's, you're putting me in a very awkward position here.
Where are you?
I'm somewhere in Australia, mate. Look, I'm going to hang up here.
Would you agree to talk to you if I come down?
Mate, look, you're really putting me on the spot here. It's late, and, the moon is there.
What do you mean the moon is there?
Oh, shit. I don't even know what I'm saying at the moment, I don't mind talking to you face to face, but coming down here is a mistake. There are things that people shouldn't, that people shouldn't know.
What's this?
Mate.
What's the moon thing?
For God's sake. I can't talk about this. I can tell you it's a big story, mate.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people think it's just a rock. But that rock is a buzz, mate.
Well,
that rock is a meeting place. Well, I've said too much already, buddy. Let's leave it there, huh?
Okay, Sandy. No, I appreciate that.
Coming down.
I'll come down immediately.
Thanks for doing this, Sandy. That's okay. I'll just take you to some places around the Sydney Opera House that ease my pain.
You think he's flipping out, or?
Huh?
It's okay.
Excuse me, I'm making a movie. Sorry.
Sorry.
But he was just here. And I'm dreaming of just being here. Otherwise, I flip right out. This is the place for me. And,
How many days a week?
I'm here every day. Every day I'll be here. See that sound of that helicopter can send me into a fit of terror because it sounds like that night. It's hard to describe, but these asshole aliens, they didn't give a fuck about who we were or nothing. They were probing. They were putting this sort of, it was like a brass stick. They were probing. They were sticking this brass stick about that long up Joe's ass. They did it for 14 days straight, just up his ass. And the guy was screaming. No jelly, no lubrication, no nothing. Just probing him anally. I mean, some people might think that's normal, but I mean, he was tough, mate.
I'm not suggesting for a moment you're making this up, but I mean, these kinds of stories of probing and rape kind of situations with these alien abductions.
Hey, listen, this fucking happened, mate. This is real, mate. This happened. Look at me. I'm a mess.
No, I'm not questioning that for a moment. Not that you're a mess, but that this occurred to you. I'm not suggesting for a moment it didn't happen. Okay, I'm just saying that it is sadly common that people who have had these experiences do have a sexual memory of it, and that's usually unpleasant.
Well, I had never had somebody stick a 6-foot bar up my ass.
Well, of course not.
I mean, particularly, we're driving along a country road and I end up in some fucking spaceship, with 6 people who look like, male models.
Sorry, I'm moving just to get a good angle.
I know, but six people, like male models, sticking brass poles up my rectum.
Well, what was the? I mean,
we're not talking proctology, man.
Was this some kind of a medical exam? I mean, what do you think it was?
Don't ask me, mate. But if you are asking me, I reckon that's the way they get off. That's sexual gratification, alien style. Mondo cane. You know what I mean? But, hey, this is not funny, mate.
No, I know.
This is not funny. And honestly, I think you're taking advantage of me.
I'm not, Sandy.
Fuck off.
Oh, come on, mate.
Philippe, fuck off. You don't appreciate the sensitivity of this. If you don't, I stipulated that this has got to be tactful.
I'm not laughing at you, Sandy. I appreciate how difficult it was for you, and I appreciate.
No, you know what? You just want to make money out of me. That's all.
You know that isn't true. This is not.
Yeah, I know what you people are like. Fuck off.
He'll calm down. I'll buy him a drink. You said that there was a bar that was similar to this inside the space.
Yeah. There was a bar, but it was a very weird thing. There was a bar that looked almost identical to this, but they didn't serve anything. There was no bartender, and there was all the bottles and everything, but there was nothing in the bottles, just sand. That was strange. It's weird for me, I reckon, weird. And, you'd sit there and you'd expect somebody to offer you something, but it never came. I think that's all part of the confusion.
Oh, Janice?
Oh, yes, Philippe. I thought it would be you.
Okay.
You'd just gone to the bathroom for about 2 minutes.
Okay. So...
You want to wait?
No, well, I'll call you back in 2 minutes. Charlie,
Yes.
listen, mate, I'm calling you because, you know, I've been working on this alien abduction documentary.
Yes, I know. I'm going back to court in a little while, but I've certainly got some time
Okay.
to talk about this. It's a serious issue that hasn't been discussed enough in the forums.
The obvious question I want to ask you is jurisdiction. In other words, if someone is abducted, who would be dealing with this in terms of police, law?
Well, that's a very interesting question. The sky's the limit, literally, in alien abduction. There is a difference in legal opinion, whether it's covered by the Human Rights Convention, the Geneva Human Rights Convention, or whether it would be the nation in which the abduction takes place. That is, whether it's a local criminal law that applies or whether it is a breach of international law. Of course, if the person is abducted and taken out of the Earth's field force, it's a whole different scenario as to what jurisdiction applies. Have you got a specific case in mind?
Well, I have. There's one gentleman who says he was abducted about 45 miles out of Sydney. Of course, he doesn't really know where to go for help. I'm wondering, does the United Nations have any kind of legal protocols on this kind of thing?
Well, the Human Rights Convention promises security, physical and mental, from interference. And many of these abductions have involved probes that would be criminal under any jurisdiction. The question is to find the right forum to advocate. Now, this man who was abducted 45 miles from Sydney would lead to a difference of opinion, because if he was taken in, for example, a saucer across state lines from New South Wales into Victoria, there becomes a complication of jurisdiction, because the abduction's in New South Wales, but the holding hostage would be in Victoria.
In terms of sexual interference with the human beings,
yes,
and they say they've been interfered with by people who aren't human.
Yes.
And I don't know, it just seems to be a very confusing situation as
Well,
to...
it's an objective test. If they've used an object to interfere in a sexual way, such as the countless anal probes that have been documented, then that is something that could be prosecuted under the statutes we have.
Oh, I see. So there's actually a claim is possible against the government for not protecting its citizens.
Exactly, and not alerting them to the possibilities, especially on country roads.
All right.
Such a suit has been filed. The person who is filing it is a lawyer with an impressive legal background. He was a former prosecutor in New York City, and he worked for a very famous high-profile defense firm in New York City. His name is Peter Gersten, and one of the things he's doing is he's filing a class action suit on behalf of abductees. He's suing the military for information based on the revelations that Colonel Corso put forth in the day after Roswell, and he's also suing the government for not protecting the citizens of Arizona against the Phoenix Lights, which were an invasion from somewhere.
The alien and the Jewish thing, I don't know if you know, do you know much, have you read the Kabbalah, the Jewish book of mysticism? Well, in there, I don't want to be flippant, but within the book, within the Kabbalah, within the Zohar, there are several references to the Jewish alien connection. And we have a festival called Rosh Hashanah, which is a celebration of the alien involvement in the Mount Sinai thing, the Ten Commandments.
You told me, on the telephone when I called you from LA that the aliens had done some kind of a Jewish dance.
That's all part of it.
What was that? Can you show me what that looked like?
I mean, now you're really getting into... Okay, can we cut it, mate? You're not shooting this, are you? Yeah. I'm just showing you. Okay. Don't shoot it. They threw their heads down. You're not shooting it, are you?
Oh, just a bit.
No, I don't want you to shoot it. Then the leader, their leader, who looked a lot like John Gavin, he started doing this sort of, it was very moving.
Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds or bends with the No, it is a never fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It is the start of every love's not time's full, the rosy lips and cheeks within his belly edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. I mean, where does that come from?
You think the aliens somehow...
Well, I mean, how do they know about Shakespeare? Unless, and this is, this might be very far, unless Shakespeare was an alien.
Shakespeare was originally a German.
A German, yeah.
He was originally... He came from Blaupunkt, Shakespeare. He was originally a German. His name was Wilhelm Shakespeare. Wilhelm Johannes Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And he was originally a German playwright who could not get work. Not unlike our esteemed Führer.
There are stories about the Nazis and Hitler being in contact with aliens. If Hitler met any aliens, chances are he met them right here, in his office in the Chancellery.
I was born in Düsseldorf, and my father was with the SS, with the Waffen SS R&D, that's what I understand. And my father told me that in 1938 they recovered a crashed UFO in German territory near Leipzig. And this was a crashed craft with beings on it the beings were alive and were taken to Berlin, where they recovered from the crash. And they met with the Führer and Hermann Göring, who was head of the Air Force.
When General Arthur Trudeau, who was Colonel Corso's boss at Army R&D in the Pentagon, came to R&D in the late 1950s, one of the reports he was given ostensibly were reports from German rocket scientists like Willy Lee, who said to him, "Don't you know that the Nazis, the Germans, knew there was alien activity on the moon?"
He may have dined with the aliens here in the Chancellery dining room. Any alien approaching the Chancellery probably would have entered from this entrance to meet Hitler. Entering the Chancellery was impressive for the aliens. The cars of 1939 in Berlin must have seemed quaint to our extraterrestrial visitors. But forget the cars. Earth may have made a good impression if aliens liked this neo-classical fascist architecture by Albert Speer. According to this account, this statue by Arno Brecker may have been one of the first nude human beings the aliens encountered. A bronze statue.
I feel that for the sake of truth, that this story should be told. The Nazis did have contact with aliens. They got alien technology from this crashed craft. The American OSS, which was created a little later, did find out about it. And there was some kind of trading of the technologies. They were all very concerned that the Soviet Union, KGB, and the intelligence organizations of the Russian government would get hold of this technology.
Is this one of the first extraterrestrial sites on Earth? The AH stands for Adolf Hitler, and this is outside his office. This is what these alien visitors saw when they arrived to meet with the Fuhrer. This is the long walk towards Hitler's office that our alien friends took. This is Hitler's cabinet room, 1939, where the alien commanders met the Nazi hierarchy.
It was involving anti-gravity flying, it was involving night vision, night scope radar, and it was very importantly the controls mechanism in the UFO involved some kind of psychic thing with the controls of the ships. Apparently the little beings wore headbands, and they could think the thoughts, and this was automatically transferred to the craft. This, I understand, is similar to what people say is happening with the Roswell crash in 1947. There are similar reports. But I can say that without question, the Nazis did have UFO technology because of the crash in Leipzig.
This is the view from behind Hitler's chair in his office. This is what he would have looked at as the aliens walked across the room to sit down in those chairs to meet with the Fuhrer. These are the two chairs in which the aliens sat and talked to Adolf Hitler. Note the objects on the desk. Some of them may be alien artifacts. This is a photo of Adolf Hitler talking to an alien. This apparently occurred in 1938. Did Adolf Hitler meet with aliens? Did the Nazis have alien technology? Many people think so.
What if, in fact, that's what you're talking about? An alternative history of planet Earth and humanity. No way can evolution account for some of the things that are on planet Earth now. And what if everybody who in the UFO community said, you know what, creationists, you're absolutely right. And the Old Testament is a metaphor for the visitation on planet Earth of flying saucers.
We're on our first leg of the trip to Australia. Hey everybody, we're in New Zealand now. Off we go.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
I visited Burke Street where I grew up and started thinking. Maybe I was abducted when I was a kid in Melbourne. I found an old newsreel of myself painting. The strange thing was, I'd painted a picture of a spaceman.
It's lovely to be in Melbourne.
No lie.
You know the little collar thing?
It does. That's my first painting in Saint-Bernard. Switzerland-les-Îles, le lac d'Annecy, Taloir, the painter's restaurant.
This could almost look like Bellagio, Italy, too.
Yeah,
My goodness. Here we go. Try and get as many as I can. I remember these when I was a kid in Collins Street. Funny little guys here. It's amazing.
I asked your mother if she would sign something and she drew me a picture of it.
There you go.
Minister of the Arts in Victoria. So he's got this thing going.
There's some naughty drawings here, kids.
Stay away from those butterflies.
What are you guys doing in the erotica room?
We're just checking it out.
Yes.
So Willie, you were conceived over there apparently.
I'm somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
I'm moving from one to the other.
That's a strange idea that when you are in the sperm, when the sperm comes out of your father and runs fast, there could be aliens already that get into it. And some pregnant woman can carry aliens and they don't know it. I did read strange things about aliens, about strange visitors of the night. We don't know what is in all the atoms and all the transformations. So you could have an alien in there, in the sperm.
It's very hard to explain if you have been confronted with something that is not in your experience in your life. I am out there in the desert. If you drive 500 miles into the desert and there is no light, you will understand dark. And then, hello, there is this light which is blinding. What happened was my car is lifted up off the road. This is, people don't understand is that you are lifted. You are in a car, lifted.
I don't know if Jerry is acting or if he's tipsy.
You'll never know, Mum. You'll never know.
Because you're obsessed by time now?
Yeah. How do you know about that? How did you pick that up? Ever since this, yeah, it's funny. You mentioned this time thing, but I'm not aware that I'm obsessed by time. It's not something that I'm aware. It's funny that you mentioned that, but I'm not aware. It just seems to. I think because they've detected the implant, I think that that's a source of relief for me, I must say.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, they found a tiny little bit of extraterrestrial spacecraft material. I actually call it ET-SM, they call it, and was a metallic object about that big, sort of a circular thing, but made of something that they've never encountered on this planet.
Where was it on your body?
It was in my buttock, but it was fairly deeply embedded in there, and I'm surprised they could detect it. And you're having a routine operation on your gallbladder, and they encounter a metallic object in your buttocks.
We're going to perform the ninth surgery in a series of surgeries to remove foreign objects from individuals' bodies who believe that they have been abducted by aliens.
So I'll make my incision right there.
A big one. Could you hang on for just a sec? Excuse me, John. Okay. Got it? Is it working?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, the object has been located. He's using an instrument now, using the C-arm to visualize the object at the end of the instrument. We can see it moving around on the screen. Very, very, very close. You see it?
Is it a boy or a girl?
Well, we don't know yet. We're
Little thing, black thing coming up, you guys?
Yeah.
Looks like we have it here, I think. It has a little membrane around it.
The object is now,
it's black.
I believe, close to the surface of the skin. It appears black in color, with possibly a similar type of membrane wrapped around it.
Raj, move that piece of glass a little bit, please. Thank you.
You see it right there?
Yeah.
So you can just begin to see it. So I'll just pull it out. You can see it's sticking out now. You don't know what it is, so we'll see. There it is here. So let's put in a piece of white gauze. I think this is it. So we're going to x-ray to make sure. It looks like it's probably...
Should be hard.
It doesn't look like it's part of you. So let's x-ray it over here. See?
That's it.
That's it.
Who's buying the grapes?
Hang on, they want a shot of it, yeah. And we'll make sure his arm. Yeah, let me just
February 5th, 2000, Saturday morning in Thousand Oaks.
What do you think?
They're fun.
Yeah.
Stop.
They can.
Stop. Okay.
Kira, you're on the way back. Sure am. Yeah. Got that right, Phil.
Look at me. This is live at the mess house.
Can we have a little bit of this cake?
Da, 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 da.
Bill, it's 2001, April. We have a new president, and I'm wondering what is the status of any further disclosure or any disclosure on the whole UFO thing?
So when you look at everything that's happened over the past 6 months, the secrets, the disclosure, the shadow administration, who's running what, when you look at all the people who are involved in this administration, do you think these same folks are going to bring you a UFO disclosure in 2001? I don't think so. If it happens, it's going to happen by itself, and they'll find a way to deny it, but everybody will know it's true. Ronald Reagan, of course, saw a UFO, flew across the California desert when he was governor of California, directed his pilot to chase it. And then knowing what happened to Jimmy Carter, when Jimmy Carter said, I'm going to tell the truth about UFOs, and then somebody from the NSC walks into Carter's, to the Oval Office and says, Mr. President, if you dare to disclose that ever again, we're going to wipe you out, we're going to wipe out your family, and Carter shut it down. It happened days after the inauguration. Reagan was not going to make that same mistake. Since Lincoln and Roosevelt, Reagan was a paranormal president. Abe Lincoln believed in the paranormal, had seances at the White House. Reagan was probably more of a paranormal president than either Lincoln or Roosevelt. Nancy Reagan consulted Joan Quigley on a daily basis. That entire staff were controlled by the movements of the planets and the signs and the moon and the this and the that. Reagan firmly believed in UFOs. He knew what he saw. That's why when he went to Scandinavia and had that meeting with Gorbachev, Reagan said to Gorbachev, what if aliens from outer space, extraterrestrials, came down? Wouldn't we patch up our differences rather quickly? And he repeated that same statement before the General Assembly. Now, when you put those two statements together, and Reagan's experience, and Reagan's not just interest in the paranormal, his reliance on the paranormal for 8 years of his presidency, the people in power now were in power then. They were all in various positions during that administration. He knew, and they know. And they're not going to disclose the truth. Why should they? They're preparing for it the best way they know how. But they're not going to tell you, and they're not going to tell me.
True space statesmanship requires not merely skill, but something greater. Something we call vision.
I got the idea for doing this film after I read a memo from Winston Churchill to the Secretary of Air in 1952.
We're all under the pressure of events. The whole world is under pressure. There is a feeling of deep anxiety.
What does all this stuff about flying saucers amount to? What can it mean? What is the truth? Let me have a report at your convenience. The Secretary of Air wrote back on the 9th of August, 1952. Prime Minister, the various reports about unidentified flying objects described by the press as flying saucers were the subject of a full intelligence study in 1951. The conclusion reached, based upon William of Occam's razor, were that all the incidents reported could be explained by one or other of the following reasons. A, known astronomical or meteorological phenomena. B, mistaken identification of conventional aircraft, balloons, birds, etc. C. Optical illusions and psychological delusions. D. Deliberate hoaxes.
And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Occam's razor is a principle that states that entities should not be multiplied unnecessarily. In other words, keep things simple. The simplest explanation is usually the right one.
So according to Occam's razor, aliens and UFOs just don't exist. They're just some kind of a psychological mask.
I found a box of films that I had shot in London in the 60s, and they were 8mm films, and the strange thing is some of them remind me of how people describe alien abduction experiences, flashes of the past. Often people have told me that they see the past and the future all at once. So I don't know whether maybe alien abduction is some kind of a deja vu. Deja vu. A deja vu.
True space statesmanship.
Every man, woman, and child lives under a nuclear thought of damage.
Restraint on the part of Anoa could, of course, be an important factor in our decision. If Anoa is restrained, we will reciprocate or something like that. This is State Department language. Doesn't make sense what I was talking to you about this morning.
Are you going to snap it again? Oh.
Take one.
There is a whole history of the moon that's part of this, call it hidden NASA, NASA Mondo Cane. One of the reasons that John F. Kennedy made it such a mandate to get us to the moon before the end of the 1960s was to see just what was up there. What Kennedy wanted to see was eyeballing, establish a human presence on the moon, because other people had established a presence on the moon, other entities had established a presence on the moon.
In the field of space, there is room for new cooperation, for further joint efforts in the regulation and exploration of space. I include among these possibilities a joint expedition to the moon.
This instrument unit accommodates the entire guidance and control system, all the radio services.
Werner von Braun built rockets for the Third Reich. Note the alien artifact around his neck.
Down from the bird. In this stage, you might see the brains of the entire vehicle is accommodated. This flight will carry 9 small motion picture cameras that will be aimed at the second stage, looking at it from the first stage. We use these cameras to study the separation phenomenon in flight. These motion picture cameras will be ejected at the separation point where the second stage breaks away from the first one.
There are many rumors in the UFO community, but the JFK one is of great interest, I think. The rumor has been that JFK was actually on his way to Dallas to give a speech regarding UFOs, and there's been a long history of supposed JFK involvement and knowledge about UFOs, some of which I cover in my book Flying Saucers 101. The main rumor is that he had note cards, which were then given eventually to an archivist who kept those note cards, and on those note cards, which have been verified by handwriting experts to have been written by John F. Kennedy, the speech details an outline for him disclosing the fact that we are not alone on this planet and that more information was to be forthcoming.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. I'm at the foot of the ladder. I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Houston, we have a problem up here. There's a giant craft.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. 413 is in.
Apparently, Marilyn Monroe once was intoxicated in a Reno nightclub, and in some anger indicated that she was going to tell everything she knew about the Cuban Missile Crisis that JFK had been involved in, as well as little green men that were being hidden in New Mexico.
NASA consistently downloads very low-res images of the moon because they don't want these things computer enhanced to the point where you can actually see physical structures on the moon.
I'm at Martin's place. My old friend Martin Sharp, the painter, in his home. And I'm trying to get him to do an interview about our discussions about aliens in London in the 60s. So, Mart,
at your mercy.
So, Mart, well, this I've been working on this documentary for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Some of it's real, and some of it isn't. I've interviewed some people, and they make stuff up, and then I've interviewed people who are not.
Right.
And it's up to the audience, really.
What about us? Don't your subjects have any?
You have all the choice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'll endeavour to tell the truth, and Phil, if that's okay with you.
Of course it is. So, I remember that Flying Saucer Review magazine.
Yes, I think I've still got a few copies of it.
And what was it, do you think, that fascinated us about the flying saucer? Because it was flying saucers then more than aliens, wasn't it, as I recall?
Well, I think that they were certainly there were various degrees of contact, described in the magazine. It was a semi-scientific magazine. Kids are interested in dinosaurs, particularly, and I think when sort of slightly when you're a bit older, you're interested in flying saucers, spacemen, as your mind sort of starts to think about the vastness of the universe.
I'm just wondering, after all these years, what do you think? You think it was all a load of codswallop?
Yes,
saucers?
I do. Yes.
You think?
Frankly, I do. I spent a lot of time looking up, and I thought, well, looking out of airplane windows, and I thought, well, if I keep looking, I'm going to see one sooner or later. I never did. Well, who knows? People who claim to be abducted, for instance, may be having dreams. One thinks, well, why do people have these experiences? Well, where do they come from? And how are they so convinced?
So you think it is it's a psychological, the explanation is psychological, they're projecting from something else, or, I think that's a perfectly reasonable explanation.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be reasonable, but where could the abductee experiences come from? Of course, there is the possibility that it's the future returning to the past.
Why do you guys walk so funny? It was just like, of course we walk funny, we're aliens. But we're different than you. I don't know, I think we were the aliens. I think we're the aliens.
I've been editing the film here in Burbank, and I got a call yesterday from a very close friend of mine who says that I must come down to Australia to meet an alien. I think my friend's mentally disturbed, unfortunately, but I'll go down and help. He says the alien looks just like a normal human being.
See you soon. He's not going to be gone long.
All right, don't worry, Don.
He's not going to be gone long.
Coming right back.
Bring the video camera down.
I'll be back soon, Dommy. Okay?
Please proceed to the information counter.
So, Tui, are there any aliens in our family, do you think? Is it possible we are aliens?
Yeah. It's addressed to you, is that Jerry? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll listen. I will say listen.
Is it possible, Terry, or am I just very paranoid?
No, it's possible, but the dilemma that I have is that if I answer very honestly and very truthfully, then my credibility comes into question.
Well, I don't think so. Like Mum, for example, has been drawing little creatures that could easily, I mean, they look like angels, but they could easily be aliens, couldn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Mum, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it is. Because I
So
wonder
in that
whether
sense, you know, you could argue that they exist in our kind of awareness or something. They exist in our... If they exist in our minds,
yeah, they can come out of the mind.
they exist.
They come out on the paper. In ink. They love ink.
But do they exist in reality as well?
Talking to me? Talking
Well,
to
either of you.
Not in my reality so far. No.
They exist in my mind, but
What
I
a-
don't know what the mind
I've
is.
worked with some extras.
Extraterrestrial?
No, just extras, Mum, but that's good.
Yeah.
And they would be pretty close to aliens.
But what about that incident you talked about at the Hilton about a year ago, where you went into the bush, you said, and you saw something? You didn't want to talk about it, but it was obviously something disturbing. I mean, are you in denial about this?
Well, for me to be able to deal with it, I have to sort of put it behind me a little bit. Because when you are confronted with these things, what you want to avoid is being haunted by them. And so if you'd like to call it denial, then you can call it denial. But for me, it's more like just dealing with it and being able to face the next day, having had these experiences. And if
What
people,
happened?
I'm
What did
used
you
to
see?
people laughing at it.
Well, what did you see? You never told me.
I can't. It's not something I can freely talk about.
Ah, I see. Well, it's your brain has projected it, because the aliens are in our brain.
Yeah.
They sleep,
Why are they?
They sleep in our brain. And sometimes they come out through your ears,
Well, yeah.
or your nostril, or your mouth,
Or your mind's eye,
or your man's eye, especially your man's eye.
as it were.
That's beautiful, your man's eye.
Not only do individuals, everyday folks, possess the power to psychically project themselves different places, it's part of our own neurological abilities, but that we don't know it, and the government doesn't want us to know it, because imagine if anybody could do this, whole corporations and economies would collapse if we could move back and forwards in time and psychically project ourselves to different places. So that's the other aspect of remote viewing, that we all can do it and don't know about it. And deliberately, the government, they don't care about UFOs, but the secret of UFOs is the secret of remote viewing and a power that we possess. So the one thing the government doesn't want us to have is the ability to remote view and project ourselves, because then society and the world as we know it falls apart. And maybe that's the hidden secret that none of us are ever supposed to know.
They're out there.
Makes sense that they are there in all kind of forms that we have no idea about.
Got that right. Scary.
No, it's nice because we're not alone.
It's been a pretty
terrible 12 months, probably the worst 12 months of my life. But this place gives me solace. This is the cottage of Captain Cook. He was the great explorer who discovered Australia. He was the explorer of the world, the first Jewish explorer of the world, and I'm the first Jewish explorer of the universe, because they don't let Jews on spaceships.
You were born in America, weren't you?
I was born in America, yeah.
Where?
I was born in Hoboken, where Frank Sinatra came from. Hoboken, Iowa.
So, Sandy, you wanted me to see this. You said this is another of your favourite spots.
Yeah, this is a miniature village, and it's very reminiscent of the perspective from space. When I would look down out of the window there in the spaceship when the aliens were not looking, this would be what I would see.
You mean the size of these?
No, this would be the exact. That would be the view.
This is the view from a spaceship.
When you're out in space and you look down, you don't actually see our time, you see another time. And I would see a Tudor village.
This Tudor village, or something like this?
No, this exact, because, I know about relativity. But look, to be honest, I'm an alien.
You are an alien?
Yeah, I'm an alien, yeah.
Well, when did you realise that?
Well, it's bloody obvious. What's happened is they climbed inside, and I'm not fully in control anymore. Does the word xenon mean anything to you?
No.
I am a xenite.
You're a what?
I'm a xenite.
You're a xenite.
Yeah. Do I have to spell this out for you, mate? I'm a bit uncomfortable here too.
Sorry.
The thing is that the xenites are very, very, very powerful. See ya.
It's the hoaxes that keep you diverted from the reality of what people are videotaping and seeing.
What? Where? Where?
In there! Over there!
What?
Remember? It went in there.
Yeah.
And now it went out.
Where?
From that little hole up there.
Which little hole?
No, up there. I saw it right now! I saw it! Yeah! Wow! What can you say?
Well, why didn't you yell out to me when you saw it, George?
I was shocked.
You were? Are you putting me on?
No.
You said something landed over there, right over there?
Yeah, something, before the car stopped, something landed over there and there was like some flashing lights over us when you guys weren't looking.
Anymore. Get the car. Turn the fucking camera off and get in the car. Get in the car.
You in the car over there, Maddie?
So I'm in Hyde Park in Sydney the day after I interviewed Sandy, Ostentatious, in Melbourne, and I got a phone call last night saying, from some mysterious voice saying,
I'm an alien, and could I meet this person in Hyde Park, which is where I am now, Hyde Park in the centre of Sydney, and he said meet me by the Olympic plaque, which is over here. So it's over here. The Olympic Games were here last year, and guy said meet me here at 10 to 12. It's now 5 to 12, so I don't know. There's no one around here. I mean, there are people around here, but I asked him on the phone. I said, thought it was a joke. I said, you know, what do you look like? He said, I just look like a normal person. Meet me there. So that's the shrine here. Seems to be something wrong with the camera. I don't know. Seagulls around in the middle of the city. Pretty day. Could be an alien. There's a woman over there by the tree. Looks like an alien to me. So, I don't know. Now I'm going to put the camera down over there. I don't know whether there's going to be anyone here or not. But you know, you try and follow up any lead that you can, even though it seems a bit strange. I don't know whether there's something wrong with this is with the camera at the moment. No. What'd you say? What? I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am.
I feel like I'm jumping in time. My voice is changing at least. Sounds like that to me. I don't know where I am. Hell, colors look like negative. I can't feel my body.
Disoriented. Quite a bit.
Any passengers from the car?
God, this place is weird. Looks like Burbank.
Look at that.
A strange light.
Spaceships. Spaceships coming around. Spaceships around.
מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות? have to spell this out for you, mate? Do I have to spell this out for you, mate?
I'm still in the middle of Sydney. Some fellow came up to me and touched me, and I blacked out. I'm just sitting on the grass here, filming myself. This like wave of stuff came over me. Oh man.
It's the 7th of May, and I'm leaving Melbourne. I'm at the airport. I had that bizarre experience at the park in Sydney, and I came down to Melbourne for just a day or so, and saw my mother last night. She didn't think there was anything wrong with me. Not that I asked her point blank. I'm looking at the little screen by the camera here, and if I look directly to the lens, that's looking directly at the lens, it's a bit disconcerting filming myself walking around this airport and on the way back to LA. Never felt the same since that incident at the park. Not quite what happened, and disoriented quite a bit.
This is the last footage he shot, right here.
So this is it? This is the last anybody has seen of Philippe?
Hi, Pamela, it's JD. We've got some disturbing news. We've got conflicting reports. We've got him in Melbourne at the airport. Right. But we also have him here at Occam.
The problem is, if he was here, how could he have also been in Melbourne just 4 hours later?
Here's where it gets really interesting. One of the things about remote viewers is that they were never told where they were going. They would give them coordinates, and suddenly they would find themselves in a strange place. But the remote viewers really couldn't determine what other dimension they were traveling in, and many of them turned up at different times.
He disappeared. I don't know. But he was a friend. Very good friend.
Thank you.